Fuck. Hassle pare. In keeping up with the brand of doing YouTube for shits and giggles and reading and reviewing queer books exclusively, here we have rating all of the gay books I read in 2021. So far, I have read a total of 55 books this year, although I'm still working on the last few reads I have for an upcoming video, so stay tuned. Out of the 55, 27 of those have been LGBT books. Yes! Contrary to popular belief, I do read books about straight people against my will. Perhaps not, but also maybe perhaps. For the end of the year, I initially thought of ranking all of the 55 books I've read, but I realized I talk too much. But in the spirit of shortening things, I won't be talking about 55 books, but instead, I'll just be ranking the 27 queer books I've read, which makes the ranking for me and for you guys watching this easier, shorter, and on brand since I've just been reading mostly queer books on this channel so far. I do have a ranking system. It's called a RuPaul's Drag Race Gay Scale. So the ranking goes for 5 stars, you're a winner baby, books that I really enjoyed and will recommend at any time to anyone. Then for 4 stars, we have Shantae, You Stay, books that I enjoyed and I might recommend based on my mood, based on who I'm talking to. The 3-star rating is You Better Work. It was just plain Jane, it was okay. It could have used a lot more work and I'm not yet sure about recommending it to people. And for the 2-star rating, I have meh. Well, that means it was a book. I'm not really recommending it to anyone unless you're specifically looking for a 2-star read. And my Lankest tier, the lowest tier on my ranking is She Fell, and she fell hard, bitch.
Whoa, she fell. And she fell hard, bitch.
I want to unsee, I want to unread, and I would not recommend. So let's get into it. Is it recording? The first book that I've read for this year, starting out very, very gay, very queer, is plain Bad Heroines. The storyline itself follows 2 timelines and it wasn't written that well, it wasn't integrated that well. The writing actually took me out of both stories and I wish the author would have focused on one timeline instead. So I'm just going to put this in You Better Work because I feel like it does need a little bit more work. But if you're looking for a queer and diverse cast, this is the read for you. The next one is Let the Right One In. This is a vampire story, a vampire horror fiction that's actually pretty scary, pretty creepy, but in terms of representation, it wasn't overtly saying that, oh hey, vampires are non-binary. It just says sexuality is fluid, and in fact, the characters, I think, perceives a non-binary character as a girl, which is a minus point for representation. So I'm just going to put this in You Better Work. It's a good vampire story. It's a very, very creepy read, but it's not the best when it comes to representation. Next one is Let the Old Dreams Die. This is sort of like a sequel to Let the Right One In, except it's a collection of short stories, and the sequel is one short story included in this book. Did I say sequel? Okay, that's very sus. I'm going to put this in You Better Work. It's still good, but it sort of treats its queer characters as magical creatures, and I'm not sure that's the right message we want to be giving. So You Better Work. Next is definitely, I don't even have to think about it, In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. This is such a good memoir. This actually the first memoir I really, really loved. It uses horror tropes to explore an abusive relationship, and I'm here for that. Written so well, written as if God wanted to show how it's done, and Carmen Maria Machado delivered. So you're a winner, baby. Next one following the trend of sapphic memoirs, Long Live the Tribe of Fatherless Girls. This is a bit of a long read, and it read like fiction. The events that happened were so out of pocket, like I don't think regular people experience this. It's just the rich and famous people. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it in Shantae You Stay. I enjoyed it, but not so much that I can relate to it. The next one is a fiction read. This is How You Lose the Time War. I don't even have to think about it. I'm putting this in You're a Winner, Baby. I'd recommend this to anyone, everyone, all the time, anytime. I love this if you're into sapphic relationships that are all about yearning, enemies to lovers. Basically, all of the tropes I love checked this list. Thinking about it now, it gave me goosebumps. I love this book so much. Not a lot of people will be into it, I feel like, because of how lyrical the writing is, but it's still a great read for me once you get past that. Like, the story is so good, the plot twist is so good, the romance is so good, the way it's written is so good. Just a 5-star read overall for me. Next one is Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. I'm not sure how to put this, how to rank this or where to put this, because it does read like YA, and I feel like I'm no longer the target audience for that. Youths. I'm just going to put this in Shantae You Stay. I'd recommend this to exclusively sapphic people. The next series is the Trials of Apollo series. I put it in 1 because I'm just going to give 1 rating for all of them, and a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but it has to be said that ending was lesbophobic, and the fact that Reina did not get her sapphic happy ending, not it for me. Next one is a graphic novel, sort of like a manga, I guess. It was a totally new read for me, but it was still a good read overall. This is My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. It was relatable, it was cute, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to put it in Shantae You Stay. The next one I read is Lore. This one actually just featured a gay side character, and I'm just going to put it in meh because it was a meh read. I didn't really enjoy it that much, and I think it didn't add anything new to the Greek mythology retelling genre. Next one is the 5 books. The 5 books I read for Pride Month. So let's see what happened that month and if my reads were worthy of the month of Pride. First is the Mercies. I'm just going to put this in You're a Winner, Baby. It's a slow burn romance where all the men die, and that's why it's a winner, baby.
And
Next is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Number 1, it's about a character who had to hide being a person of color to get up in the movie industry. Number 2, the main character had so much internalized homophobia that it was such a cringe, embarrassing read for me. So even though the gays would crucify me right now, I'm saying a controversial but brave opinion. I'm just going to put this in meh. Next is Gideon the Ninth, which is a book about lesbian necromancers in space. I hesitate on calling it lesbian because the word lesbian doesn't actually appear in the text, so I'm not sure if they are actually lesbians, the main characters I mean. But this was such a good read. This is enemies to lovers, which is my favorite trope of all time. It's a slow burn and it's fantasy, so you really have to work to understand it. So I'm just going to put this in You Better Work because I think it needs work both from the author and from the reader in understanding the terms. Next one is, I'm just going ahead and putting this in Shantae You Stay because I loved America Is Not the Heart so much. It has Filipino representation, bisexual representation, and Ilocano representation, which I love so much. Reading the dialogue made me happy that I can understand it actually, because it was written in Ilocano, and then I was like, I know people will be looking this up and I don't need to. But overall, this was such a great read. Elaine Castillo, teach me how to write, teach me how to be as good as you when it comes to stringing words together. Definitely a recommended read. So the next one is The Witch's Heart. This is queer baiting at its finest. The back excerpt of the book is written as if this witch is going to find love with another woman, and like 90% of the book is all about how she fell in love with Loki, who's depicted as this straight man, and I'm not into that. So I also didn't enjoy the writing. I'm just not rating this because I was queer baited, but just because I didn't enjoy the story and I feel like it didn't add that much into the lore of Loki and his wife. So I'm just going to put this in She Fell, and She Fell Hard. I want to unread. Anyway, the next book I read was Orpheus Girl. This is about two girls who are sent into a conversion camp, which is sort of like the plot of But I'm a Cheerleader, except this book is really, really, really sad. Like, it's really sad. It tackles the subject in a very sensitive way, and it's written in a first-person POV. So it's sort of like you're experiencing the conversion camp along with them, and it made me really sad. Nevertheless, I enjoyed the sad, so I'm just going to put this in Shantae You Stay. It's not for everyone. It's a bit too short, and that's why I'm just putting it in Shantae You Stay, because I wanted more from this. And yeah, the next book I read is The Henna Wars. This is an enemies to lovers young adult romance. I'm going to put this in You Better Work because I did enjoy the romance. I'm just putting it in You Better Work because I feel like this wasn't written for me. It's a little bit sort of like older middle grade and not really young adult or new adult. Next is Ash by Melinda Lowe. We already have Melinda Lowe here in Last Night at the Telegraph Club. Coming off of that, I think Ash fell short. If The Witch's Heart was queer baiting, Ash is straight baiting, for real. Like, it spent 80% of the story setting the girl, Ash, up to end up with this man. And then suddenly she's with this woman who's very, very hot. It had little to no build up to that sapphic romance, so I wish there was more. I'm just going to put this in meh. Next one is the last 3 books I've read for this year. You guys already know about this. I made a separate video for this. Cemetery Boys, I'm just going to put it in Shantae You Stay. It's sort of, I'm debating whether I should put it in You Better Work or Shantae You Stay, but since I love the main character so much, I'm just going to put it in Shantae You Stay. This is a good trans representation and fantasy as well. Next is a lesson in vengeance. I'll put this in You Better Work. It was too white for me. Next is A Dowry in Blood. I'm also just going to put this in Shantae You Stay. This was a good read for me. It was also very spicy, if you like that kind of stuff. But again, I wished it was longer, and I really wish we had delved more into the queer relationships for this book. So that's it. This went by really fast. I thought I was going to spend like at least 45 minutes, but at least I'm happy. Shorter video for me to edit and a shorter video for you guys to watch. Hopefully you guys would be interested in reading these based on my recommendations. I hope I have given you enough reason to read these books and to probably read more queer books this coming new year, or to squeeze it in even at the end of this year. I am really thankful you guys are still watching my videos, and I'm so happy to be able to do this even though it's just for shits and giggles. If you like this video, like it wherever the like button is, and if you like my content, subscribe. I feel so awkward doing that because I never thought I would, but yeah, bye.